Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, another epic mail day. I wanted to share some of the stuff that I have been getting in the mail recently, and yeah, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Otherwise, you kind of already know how this goes. I've done quite a few of these, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first things first is a prized item of mine. Get this, I have a mint condition FireRed and LeafGreen booster box. Came in the mail from one of my friends over on the IG, had it over on his store, and I saw it, I wanted it, and I went for it. So this is going, like, without a doubt into my collection and never coming out. One of the boxes that I have a weird regret with because I didn't buy it when I had the chance from, believe it or not, PokeRev. So as a result, I wanted to purchase it before it got any more expensive. In case you're curious, there is a Charizard EX card in that booster box that is just stupid in value. I think PSA 10s go for like upwards of $2,000, and that is mainly because it's an EX card from the EX era, which is impossible to grade because of all the silver and holographic on the card. So as a result, it's stupid difficult to get those cards, and it's one of those weird things where the value of a PSA 10 will often drive the price of the box upwards. So back in like September of 2019, when I first got back into Pokemon, it was only about 5,000, and even then you could have made a deal for it, but now, you know, it's soon going to be approaching 10 grand, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point it goes for over that much. This box is in really good condition, so I'm really happy that I picked this up when I got a chance. So I'll go ahead and put that over to the side. Next up is another booster box. This one comes to us in a Sterilite container, so I'm gonna go ahead and crack this fella open real quick on camera so you guys can see a little bit. This is, I applaud this eBay seller because he or she does a really good job of kind of protecting the booster box. So not only did the container have, not only was a container included, which is already a great direction to be at, but then on top of that, look at the amount of bubble wrap that was included. And this, check this out, guys. This is what I consider to be another minty booster box for sure. This is a Platinum Supreme Victors. So Platinum Supreme Victors is one of those sets getting up there in value already, in the neighborhood of $4,500 if you look at raffles that are going online. So it's not crazy for me to say that I think this box may peak and continue to go forward. A lot of people are also saying that this box is, well, we can actually check. This box is from 2009, so not far after the EX era. And as a result, a lot of people who liked EX also may have transitioned over to Platinum, and as a result, it might be a great investing opportunity. So I went ahead and bought two. So this is another one. So the funny story about these two boxes, I recently sold a high-end booster box that I've actually never really advertised much on the channel. It's an Expedition box that, ironically enough, has Charizard on it. So I sold that one, and I made a decent amount of profit on it that I decided I'm going to reinvest it. So two of the things that I said I would do is I would go online and see if I could find a Platinum Supreme Victors box at about $3,500, and then wouldn't you know it, this box sold for $3,700. I asked the guy for a steep discount, and he was like, here, take $3,700 is the best I can do. But this box was for $3,500, and I just said to the guy, hey, could you possibly consider bumping down to $3,200? And both boxes ended up being in a situation where I paid $5 less than I should have. So I ended up buying two boxes at exactly the price that I wanted. I was really happy about that. Of course, eBay charges taxes, but you would have to encounter those anyway. So in the grand scheme of things, they came in at about maybe like $7,700. but it's my hope that these boxes will continue to appreciate in value. I feel a lot of people are definitely saying how these boxes are going to continue to appreciate in value. And as a result, I said, worst case, I'll have this one for myself or for investing purposes, and I can keep the other one for speculation or maybe sell sometime in the future. Next up, we're going way back to the WotC era of collecting. We have not one, not two, but 10 heavy first edition fossil packs. So these come to us from a good friend of mine. He's actually the same person who sold me the gold star lot that I got graded. Video will be down below if you want to go check that out. It's personally one of my favorite videos. And the good news is that I even got 3 complete art sets and then a 1 lone Aerodactyl pack. So here's a question for you guys down below. Let me know, do you want to see some of these packs opened as a part of my next vintage opening? I think we'll be, at the time of the video's release, approaching 400 if we haven't already hit it. So my question to you is, for our next big milestone, what do you want to see open? Do you want to see some of these packs open? I got these packs at a pretty good price. Unfortunately, my buddy ended up in a situation where he needed some cash in a hurry, so I was able to pick those up for about $100 under what they are selling for on eBay. And because of that, I said to myself, it's actually really good because I could probably make off pretty well even if I just keep them and hold them. I'm pretty sure these packs are going to continue to go up in value. And what's cool is that because those boxes were actually in he bought a booster box, cracked it himself, sold off the light packs as art sets, and then kept the 12 hollows and sold 2 of them to another friend of his that I know for a fact these are legit, these are cool, these came straight out of a box. So it's likely that not only could they get a PSA 10 as a graded pack, but the hope is that if I crack them open, and obviously there is some risk involved in that, that I will hopefully make out pretty well. And lastly but not least, we have this box over here, which I really hope I took out my address on. And this is a PSA Graded return. So these particular items are new to the channel, and I wanted to open them up on channel and show the grades. So if you're a fan of Instagram, you would have seen 2 of these items already, I think. But here's the deal. PSA offers a really cool service called reholdering. Reholdering is basically where they take an out-of-date case for the card or a case that's been damaged in some way, shape, or form, and what they do is they basically get a brand new case on the card, and you pay $8, which honestly isn't that bad a price, and they'll basically, make it look like new. Oftentimes when you're buying cards on the internet, particularly eBay and stuff like that, you'll get cases from all over PSA's time grading cards, and a lot of people care to agree that the cards from the most recent set or from the most recent style look the best. So in an ideal world, you want not only a recent cert, but you also want a recent case. And in the event that you have an older collection or have been grading cards for a while, like myself, since 2013, you would have had a quote-unquote out-of-date looking case. So the reholder is a great way to bring your collection up to speed. Obviously, it can be a bit costly and a bit silly because the card has already been graded. At this point, you're really just nitpicking. But in my opinion, when you do buy cards from the internet specifically, sometimes it does make sense to have the cards reholdered, and the only reason I kind of insist on having those cards reholdered is because sometimes they come from neglectful homes and things can get scratched up, dented, or dinged, and you don't want that in your collection, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's worth paying the $8 in addition to the cost of the card, and just having the card reholdered so they look nice and clean. So with that said, let us go ahead and get started on a, well, kinda PSA graded return. This is only going to be a few cards. So with that said, let's get started. So the first card up is a Jirachi EX from EX Crystal Guardians. Bought this card for about $160, so really not the most expensive card in the world. It was a Gem Mint 10, and honestly, I believe cards like this have a long way to go in terms of appreciation. The booster boxes are already very much up there, so I believe the cards will follow suit. And then, of course, it's a EX card, which means the silvery hollow pattern is so difficult to grade that it makes the value of these cards insane. And as you can see, it is a low cert number. It's in the twos, but honestly, the card itself is in phenomenal condition, in my opinion. So I didn't want to crack it open and have it resubmitted for a grade, but I did think just reholdering it. And just in case you're curious, here's a PSA card, and then here is what the differences are. So you can see they have that new PSA logo. The case is a little bit more streamlined. You have the lithograph down in the back. So it's a very good looking change of card. Next up, we have a Magnetric EX. So this is a PSA 8, again, bought in the same lot of cards from Jirachi, bought from PWCC over on eBay. So this is out of the EX Deoxys set. I'm trying to look if there's a swirl. I don't see anything, but just a cool looking card. I love that the EX era cards had this really cool artwork, especially like this 3D generated rendering for them, so that's pretty dope. I'm gonna actually save this card for last because it's a funny story with that one. Here's a Groudon EX from Legend Maker. From Hidden Legends. So not really much to say about this. There is a matching Kyogre that I was after, but I couldn't find it. It's a PSA 9, and I don't really know why it got a 9. I think it's one of those things where it was like, let's control the population of 10s by dinging this one for something or the other. I'll probably take a look at it, but I have a feeling that if it were resubmitted or challenged, it may come back as a 10. I just personally wouldn't take the risk of that. Speaking of PSA 9s, here is a Dragonite EX that came back. Again, purchased off that PWCC account. The thing I like about this Dragonite EX is it's all the way back from EX Dragon. And what I love about that is that it's one of the very first EX era cards. EX Dragon is one of those sets that really kind of paid homage to all of the dragons with the introduction of the dragon type. Ironically, all of the dragons were colorless energy anyway, so it ended up being a situation where they did a lot of good for the dragon type, but it wouldn't be till later that it was officially introduced into the TCG. Either way, these are some of the coolest looking cards because, you know, they really kind of went out of their way to give a Pokemon type a distinct set in the TCG, which I thought was pretty impressive. So here are the three big hitters. The first is this Charizard EX out of, wouldn't you know it, FireRed and LeafGreen. So this was a pretty important pickup for me. I wanted this in a PSA 10, and fun fact, these cards, basically everything you're seeing here, was purchased in like late December of 2019, so there was actually still a chance that I could get this card as a PSA 10. Now, this card's prices have just skyrocketed to extremes, and it's basically impossible now. The back of this card, and I am going to try to get it a little bit closer. The back of this card isn't actually that bad. It's, oh dear. Alright. Let me see this. So the back of this card, as I say that for the third time already, isn't that bad. It's surprising how like decent it is, all things considered. But what I think got this card dinged is on the front, right over here, there is a slight like divot. And you might be able to see it right there. Yeah, so you can kind of see it as the light passes by, but there's like a slight like drop in the layer of the card. I don't want to say, and you can very clearly see it, so you know it's there. I really think that's the only thing wrong with this card. So right where my thumb is, you can actually see it. I really think that's the only thing wrong with this card, which is unfortunate, but I think if I were to resubmit this now, this would be a PSA 5. So I think I will keep it a PSA 8, kind of knowing and just being happy that I have that Charizard in my collection. And yeah, just kind of being happy with that. Here's another big one. So this is a Gengar Skyridge Hollow. So this is an OG card from WotC. Anyone who's a fan of the channel knows that I'm normally not the biggest WotC person, but this was something I had to pick up at auction. And The funny thing is that I purchased this card for about 600 bucks, which at the time, at the auction that I was bidding on, was actually like the highest it had ever sold for. I was only the holder of that title for a little bit because now people are asking $900 for this card. So I might be wrong, but people may have already paid higher prices for a Gengar PSA 9. Of course, what's really difficult about this card is just the amount of holographic that one has to contend with. I would say, you know, like, in terms of surface area that has cards, it rivals EX cards, not because of the border or anything, but because just look at the amount of holo that is there to be scratched. In my case, I have a print line and it's very, very faint, but the fact that as a, you know, as a cert in the 2s, that it didn't get a 10, probably means I will never be challenging this, because you know, it's just not worth the effort to be like, oh hey. The good news with PSA 9s is that they've recently started to rise in value, because people realize, like, if this card is selling for $2,000 as a 10, I might be willing to pay $1,000 for a 9. I mean, I was willing to pay $600, and here we are. So the good news is that even if you're not able to afford a PSA 10, you might be able to do a 9. And then I guess if I get lucky, people will want PSA 8 Charizards and I'll be rich. Here is the big hitter in this particular set. This is a Delta Species Gold Star Groudon. So this is, I mean, we all know what this is, right? The Gold Stars come out of the EX era sets. They are super cool. And this one, I am really, really happy that I picked up. So I bought this card with the same set. The only card that came separately, the only card, is this Skyridge Gengar. Other than that, all the cards were purchased together in December of 2019. Bought this card for like 500 bucks. And I have seen auctions for this card go northward of $1,800. So I am about as happy as can be, because literally sitting in PSA, this card tripled in value from what I purchased it for, if not almost quadrupled. So to say the least, I'm really, really happy about the way that that played out. It's one of very few PSA 10 Gold Star cards that I have. I do have the big guy. I'm very close to having the Torchic, but I have only a PSA 9. But I do have this, I do have a Jolteon, I do have a Mewtwo, and I do have a Rayquaza. So this is my 4th PSA 10, and it brings me a little step closer to one of the goals I set for myself this year, of also having a complete collection of Gold Star cards in any PSA form. I think some of the big hitters that I'm still missing are the PSA, well, not PSA, but any Gold Star Mew. I did come into possession of one, but it wasn't for me. I could have gotten it graded. It would have probably got like a 4 or maybe a 5. And although I'm okay with that, because it does technically check the list, I would rather kind of troll around for a little bit, and maybe I get lucky and I open up a Dragon's Frontiers pack and pull it, or worst case, maybe I can buy it raw and have it graded, but I'm just waiting for the ideal time. But yeah, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. I hope you like what you saw. Let me know down below, especially about these guys, because I definitely want to crack into a few of these, and I think it would be really fun for the channel. But let me know down below, is a WotC opening something you are interested in? I have 10 of these, and believe it or not, I may actually open all 10 of them. But let me know that down below, guys. Thanks again for checking out today's video. If you like what you saw, make sure to hit that like button, and hey, if you think I earned it, feel free to subscribe as well. Thanks again for checking out today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and we'll see you real soon. Peace.